Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery. Today we are getting into the new side quest that we have, the 8-part task of figuring out something about fairies, probably. But Hagrid has a problem and he needs our help. And at the end of it, we will unlock Hagrid as a friend. Something which, you know, should have already happened by now. Because, but let's face it, he's the main friend that we want. Thanks for meeting me all the way out here, Shiny. No problem, Hagrid. I'm always willing to help a friend. Already a friend. Plus, you sounded upset when you asked me to come. Are you alright? No, Shiny. I reckon I'm not. Professor Snape's out of the fairy wings he needs for his beautification potion lesson. I'm sure he'll find a way to get more. That's the problem. He already has. I overheard him saying that he's going to harvest the wings from the fairies in my garden. That's a shame. That's practical. It sounds like Snape. It sounds like something Snape would do, alright. I don't want to go against Professor Snape's wishes. And I know that removing a fairy's wings don't hurt him, but it just makes him awful annoyed. But it seems like a rotten thing to do to a vain creature like that. Plus, I've grown rather fond of those little creatures, and would hate to see you upset. So, you want to keep Snape from finding the fairies? Yeah, I was hoping to relocate him here, but they're refusing to leave. I suspect that they're laying their eggs on the underside of my pumpkin leaves. Professor Snape will be round my hut any day now, and I'm still not sure what to do. Will you help me, Shiny? Of course, Hagrid. Between the two of us, I'm sure we can come up with a plan to convince the fairies to relocate. Maybe the plan could consist of this. Y'all gonna get your wings ripped off. Like, what is that the equivalent of? That's like getting your eyelashes whipped off. Licked off, not that's not the same. Whatever we do, let's make sure that we don't hurt the fairies. Okay, we can do that. Don't bowtruckles eat fairy eggs, so putting them here isn't probably the best idea. Moving all the fairies from my garden to here won't be easy. I tried buzzing at them to communicate, but it didn't work. Wait, yeah, but I have a fairy next to a bowtruckle in my creature reserve. Fairies like to groom themselves. You could try airing way out. You'd be surprised how stubborn fairies can be. Yeah. You said that already, Hagrid. Right. Successfully. What have we figured out? What's the game plan? Okay. Thanks to our brainstorm, I've got a few good ideas about how we can keep Snape from getting to the fairies. Let's hear him. Well, I thought we could try scare the fairies out of your garden. It's not a bad idea, but if we scare them, there's no telling where they might fly off. If they go even further on the school grounds, Professor Snape will find them for sure. Alright then, how about we just capture them and release them somewhere else? I already tried, but they're tricky little creatures. Capturing one isn't easy. The 5 pumpkins I smashed trying to do it attest to that. Then instead of moving the fairies, why don't we try asking Snape directly if he can get the fairy wings from somewhere else? I already tried, but no luck. Snape said he didn't want to change this lesson plan on account of me feeling bad for some bugs. Well, so much for my good ideas. If only we could figure out the best way to convince the fairies to move. That's it, Hagrid. We'll test out different methods on a fairy to determine the best way to persuade them. That sounds like a good plan. But where will we get a fairy? The ones in my garden are all hiding from me. Actually, I've been taking care of a fairy here in the Magical Creatures Reserve. I'll go and get it and meet you in the care of Magical Creatures classroom. Okay? Thank you. Do you have to have the fairy? Oh, one of the missions is adopt a fairy. You got a fairy? Bring it to the care of creatures, Magical Creatures classroom. Yes, exactly what I just said then. Work with fairies. Oh no, it's a handshake. It's going to require gold. It's going to require gold to do it. Shiny, I see you brought a fairy. Just like I promised, this is a fairy. Or this is fairy. I've been feeding it and taking care of it. Is my fairy called Fairy? Ha! Nice to meet you, Fairy. Zzz. It seems Fairy's not the biggest fan. That's perfect. Yes. But why wouldn't it be better if fairies liked and trusted me? Think about it, Hagrid. If you can figure out how to convince Fairy to listen to you now, I need to change my fairy's name. You should have no problem persuading the fairies in your garden to move. My fairy's called Fairy. That's very, imaginative. Then I can relocate him before Professor Snape can find him. Exactly. So, where should we start? You're the creature expert, Hagrid. I should be asking you that question. To be honest, Shiny, I haven't got much experience working first hands with fairies. I know they're vain, and they're always primping and preening, but I'm not sure how that'll help us. That's why I was hoping you'd have an idea of how to win over a fairy. Maybe flatter the fairy. You should try bond with the fairy by flattering it if it's vain. Then it'll be more likely to listen to you. Good idea, Shiny. Fairies are vain creatures after all. Go on then, Hagrid. See if you can get it to come around to you with flattery. Your wings are looking nice today, fairy. Bzz. Yeah, in fact, you must be the prettiest fairy I've ever seen. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It worked. Fairy's really warming up to me. Brilliant. Now we know that flattery is the way to go. With a little polish, I bet we could perfect a way to persuade the fairies. Not bad. Right. That's already just happened, Hagrid. Right. We're not shaking hands. We're actually potentially earning some gold from this. If not very little. Fairy seems to respond to your best praise. Think if a fairy will eat my rock cakes? Nope. Fairy's got me a bit self-conscious. My fairy's hawk is a little bit rusty. No, it's fine, Hagrid. You might be able to lure the fairies out of the garden with a mirror. Possible. I should have brought a tiny comb. That would have worked. Bzz. Try completing its hair, Hagrid. Try complimenting its hair. It really seems to enjoy that. Okay. No one's going to eat your rock cakes, Hagrid. Fairy seems to respond best to praise. Yep. And studying it is just go buzz. Oh, Fairy seems to be buzzing happily. I'd say we're doing something right. Yes, we are. But are we going to have enough to do it? Yes, just perfect. Right. Success. Let me get some coins. Bzz. This proves it. Playing to fairies' vanity is the best way to persuade it. If you try that with the fairies in your garden, you should have no problem convincing them to move. This is great, Shiny. I can't wait to try it out. Hold on, Hagrid. It might be a good idea if I study fairies a bit more first. That way I'll know how best to react in case something goes wrong. Alright, a little extra studying couldn't hurt nobody, I suppose. I'll go and do some research. Then I'll meet you when I'm finished. Right. Rowan. Gain 150 knowledge points. Hurry and learn more about fairies so that we can save the ones in my garden. I've got to earn 150 knowledge points. Alright, so I've got to gain them. So what's that going to take? 150 knowledge points, that's a lot. Oh no, technically if you're getting some 50s, 40s. Darn. I've literally set up so badly for the day because I could go through all my animals and I could actually get some knowledge points through that, because you get quite a fair few. I probably would have been able to go through them, but as you can see I've only got one food, so that's not happening. We will have to finish this tomorrow, where at the moment it looks like we can start by continuing with our House Pride event. We'll get some knowledge points just as that process goes along, and then we can pick up the fairy tale probably later on tomorrow. And we're back. Right, ready. Hagrid in the training grounds. We got our fairy called Fairy. Let's start with change his name. Thanks for coming and bringing your fairy, Shiny. Hagrid, what's the matter? We weren't supposed to meet up until later. Professor Snape, I saw him looking around the hut for fairies. He's already begun to hunt for them, for the fairy wings. I know. I told you I'd wait before I started relocating them, but there wasn't any time. So I took advantage of Professor Snape returning to the castle for supplies to talk to the fairies. You made the right call, Hagrid. How did it go? Good at first. I was able to use what I learned about flattering fairies to persuade them to move. In fact, I was in the process of relocating the fairies one by one when Professor Snape returned. Oh no. Thankfully, I had already relocated all but one of them. But the last fairy was so startled by Professor Snape that he flew off towards the castle. That's why I called you in Fairy here. I figured the best way to find a fairy is with another fairy called Fairy. So, will you help me find the missing one before Professor Snape does? It's headed this direction. Of course, Hagrid. Let's search around a bit. I'm sure we'll find the missing fairy. Buzz. Yeah, fairy will find it. Let's just search the training grounds. Nope. Can't see it with the vicinity. Maybe we could move about. If I were a fairy, where would I hide? Fairy seems to be onto something. Fairies like to look at their reflections, correct? Should we look near water? Possibly. I hope Professor Snape hasn't found the missing fairy yet. Buzz. Yeah, you're not really helping, Fairy. Instead of calling for Fairy, should we buzz for it? Technically, yes. At least all the other fairies are safe in the magical creatures reserve. Are they though? I'm not sure if that was a big bug or a small fairy. Fairy seems more interested in grooming than searching. My fairy. Right, let's finish this off. Collect success. And some much needed coins. Thank you. That's odd. There's no sign of fairy around here, besides yours, of course. But I could have sworn I saw it come this way. Did you say you're looking for a fairy? Yes, one of Hagrid's. Did you happen to see one, Penny? Actually, yes, in the potions classroom. Thought that it was an odd sight. I thought I must have imagined it. Oh no, Professor Snape will find it for sure. Don't worry, Hagrid. I have a plan. Penny, I promised Hagrid that I'd help prevent Snape from finding the fairy and taking its fairy wings. But in order to do that, I need your help. Will you rescue the fairy from the potions classroom whilst I distract Snape? I'm not sure, Shiny. I'd rather not do anything to get on Professor Snape's bad side. But if you've got a convincing reason, I might change my mind. Snape likes you, Hagrid isn't an option. You're the only one I can trust. Penny, out of all my friends, you're the only one I can trust to safely get the fairy without getting caught. Really? I can't think of anyone more dependable and more suited to this job than you. Flattery doesn't just work on fairies. Well, when you put it like that. Alright, Shiny. I'll help you find the fairy to get out of the potions classroom. I personally don't see the harm in collecting a fairy's wings for potions, but this is clearly important for you and Hagrid, so I'm willing to lend a hand. So if I start pulling your hair out, that's alright? Thanks, Penny, you're the best. But I really don't know anything about working with fairies. If I do find Hagrid's missing fairy, how will I make it listen? Flattering it should work, but just in case, you can take my fairy along with you. Buzz! Having another one of its kind around might help the lost fairy feel a bit more comfortable. That's a good idea, Shiny. That's a big task for a fairy. I'd recommend you spend some time bonding with your fairy first. Okay, then it's settled. I'll make my fairy trust me and meet you in the potions classroom, Penny. Right. Don't worry, Hagrid. We'll get to the fairy safely soon. We'll get the fairy to safety soon. Right, so now I've got to reach max level trust with the fairy. Done! Let's go retrieve the fairy from the potions classroom now, before I get cold feet. I'm glad I bought the fairy. This must suck if you don't have a fairy. And will this mean, like, in future quests, we'll have other creatures that we have to do the same with? Because I've still got a few left. Thestral. There's a unicorn now that's just come out. Make sure to check out that, but that's pretty expensive. A Welsh green dragon. And there's another something that I haven't got as well. Right, let's go meet Penny in the potions classroom. Penny in the potions classroom. Let's go meet Pretty Penny in the potions classroom. Let's go meet dependable Pretty Penny Bone Putter. No, too many P's. Thanks again for volunteering to help me find Hagrid's runaway fairy, Penny. It's really important that we help him that we relocate fairies before Snape has a chance to take their wings. You're welcome, Shiny. As an inspiring potioneer, I might personally side with Snape on the fairy wings issues, but you and Hagrid are my best friends, and I'm willing to put my feelings aside for you. Besides, it looks like I won't have to look too hard. There's the fairy now. Nice. No, don't go that way. Don't go that way. I want to keep your wings. Did Snape just throw some on the floor? We're in luck. It looks like Snape's too caught up in his work to have noticed it yet. What's he working on? It doesn't look like he noticed us coming either. Why don't we use this opportunity to go over your plan? Alright. First you'll tell Snape you left something behind in class and want to look for it. Then I'll distract Snape while you and my fairy try to get the other fairy to cooperate. But what if I can't get it to cooperate? What if it gets startled and Professor Snape notices? Don't worry, Penny. My fairy will help you. Trust me, and it's prepared for this. I'm kind of glad I left it as fairy. Not to mention, I promised I'd give it its own mirror if I listened. Did I? Buzz, buzz. I didn't promise that. Now, quick, go hide while Penny and I go talk to Snape. Or just go over there and tell the other fairy, let's go. We could be done like that. But fairies can't communicate with each other, apparently. Other than saying buzz in different ways. That's a very limited vocabulary. It's like me saying niffler. Niffler? Niffler. Excuse me, Professor Snape. Niffler wouldn't work. You can't hear that. Oh, Hagrid and Hunter, to what do I owe this interruption to my work? I left my favourite quill behind in class, and I was hoping that I would look for it. You don't say class, Penny, you say class. Left it behind in class, and was hoping I could look for it. Your favourite quill? Yes. My mum gave it to me. It has very sentimental value. So, can I look for it? I see. Very well. Go ahead. Thank you, Professor. Aren't you going to help her? Actually, Professor, I came along because I was hoping I could ask you a question. If you must, what is your question? Ask about bottling fame. Ask about his hair. Ask about his well-being. Your hair is so oily. Have you ever thought about investing in degreasing shampoo? Yeah, he's going to love this. Have you ever thought about minding your own business? That was a rhetorical question, by the way. I don't actually want to know. If that's all, I have some important work to finish. Nope. Wait. Actually, I just remembered I have a few other things that I've been meaning to ask you. Yeah. I like when he does that. Just, 8 hours? 8 hours of distracting Snape. I don't think that's possible. What are the properties of Moonstone again? Can you tell me about that? Is Penny brushing Hagrid's missing fairy's hair? Just get it out of here, quick. It doesn't take 8 hours. Hagrid's missing fairy is admiring its reflections in Snape's jar. That's not helping. Do you believe in love potions? Do you believe love potions should be illegal, Professor Snape? You're awfully nosy today, Hunter. Missed that bit. If you're hoping I'll do all your research for you, think again. I wonder how Penny's getting on. Why haven't you become the defense against the dark arts, Professor? Ooh. Whoever said there were no stupid questions clearly never met you. Penny brushing Hagrid. Stop brushing the hair, Penny. Let's pretty sweet to the fairies. What have they got to say? Buzz. Oh, I shouldn't stare for too long or Snape will get suspicious. Yeah, he'll see that I'm staring over. Hagrid's missing fairies in my... Stupid fairies. They're just doing the same things for 8 hours. Right, success. Done. And a lot of coins this time. Thank you. 25 each. That's quite enough, Hunter. I suggest you take your incessant questions elsewhere. Hagrid, perhaps, when she finally manages to find her quill. Why? Where are you going? Somewhere I can continue my work without interruptions. I mean, we can leave. Oh, the fairies. Hi, Professor Snape. I didn't find it. No. Oh. They're communicating through just pure facial expressions. Huh. Penny, did you and my fairy manage to round up Hagrid's missing fairy? See for yourself. Yes, she did. At first, Hagrid's fairy didn't want to cooperate. It loved looking at its reflection in the glass, though. But with the help of Fairy, we were able to convince it to come with us. Yes. Thank you, Penny. Now I can take these fairies off to the Magical Creatures Reserve, where they belong. You're welcome, Shiny. To be honest, it was quite exciting. Yeah. Let me know if you need help sneaking creatures behind Professor's backs again. It wasn't the most exciting thing. I mean, like, we've been to Cursed Vaults. It doesn't really compare. I'm so happy you found Fairy. Let's release it in the Magical Creatures Reserve. Let's, Hagrid. Let's do this. Right, it's time to release our fairy into the Magical Creatures Reserve. Does this mean we get loads of fairies? I doubt it. Shiny, you managed to find the missing fairy. Yeah, but I couldn't have done it without Penny and Fairy. Buzz. With their help, we managed to get the fairy out of the potions classroom without Snape noticing. Snape will have to get his fairy wings at the apothecary, like everyone else. Sounds like you got yourself a good friend in line, and a fine fairy. Thanks, I'd say so. Buzz. Good fairy. You don't know much about her. You don't know how much of a relief this is. I've been pacing around my hut all day long. Now I can rest easy knowing all the fairies from my garden can live without fear of losing their wings. But will the fairies really be happy here when they've lived in your garden their whole lives? What if they'd have been happier in the garden without wings than here with them? I suppose we'll have to just release this fairy and see for ourselves. Yeah, let's do that. Release the fairy. Trees will give fairies cover from auguries. It's good. There's plenty of leaves to hide their eggs under. There is, for bowtruckles to steal and eat. The fairy looks like it's trying to communicate with other fairies. Buzz? Buzz. My fairy looks like it's showing the new one around. Not really. They just look like flying. I have to squint, but that looks like a smile to me. I think they're actually happy here. Be free, little fairy. Be free. Got to have high hopes of living. Shooting for a star, but I couldn't make a killing. Always got high hopes. Mama said, it may be better than that. Right, let's finish this off with a buzz. I'm a little bit disappointed in this quest in that, well, I've got 16 minutes left, in that it has completely ruined the House Pride event because I'm not going to get to my blue books in time now. So, slightly disappointed. I might get time to do 1 8-hour, which will take me to 80, and then 2 days left, I'll get 80 again. So 160. It's going to be getting close to getting 165, let alone 185. And I would have done it. I was ready to get it but bloody Hagrid. I'm going to take that as a sign that your fairies are going to be happy here, Hagrid. And it's all thanks to you and Fairy. I'm impressed with how much you two connected. You really have a way with creatures. I like to think so. I mean, I've got a lot of creatures. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Oh, that's a lot of buzzes. Oh. Nice. Looks like Fairy agrees. At the end of the day, I know where to go the next time I need help with a creature. To my friend, Shiny. Buzz, buzz. What about Fairy? Oh, so we instantly get 100 points towards Hagrid, which is that a level up? How much does it take to level up? Yeah, so it instantly takes him to level 2. Nice. We've got Ruby's Hagrid. Look at how small everyone is compared to him. It's his whole face. I wonder what we get as a reward for getting him. As soon as I figure that out, or somebody let me know in the comment section below if you do know, and I'll pin it. Because we've got Hagrid as a friend. It's been a long time coming. We've needed to have Hagrid. We've got a bundle that we can get. Apparently you can get Marula's dress. I don't know whose top that is, but I am not paying £22 for it. Okay, that's all for this one. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want to keep up to date with future content. That is all from me. See you guys soon.